Hello, good day to you wherever you're watching from. Thank you for tuning in to another series on Simple Safety Talks with Fumilola Oladokun. And if you are new here, you are highly welcome. This is where we discuss safety topics in simple, easy to understand format. And so we have done a lot on home safety and on food safety. Kindly go to our YouTube page and subscribe to the channel. Click the notification button and press the subscription bell too, so that whenever we post a video, you'll be one of the first to know that we have posted another series on safety, what you need to know. And so today we'll be discussing on our own fire series. Something very important, as I've said earlier, on fire safety series, episode 3, and which is fire extinguishers, what you need to know. Do you have a fire extinguisher? Have you ever used it before? Do you know how to use it? We are going to be discussing everything with respect to fire extinguishers, what you need to know in this series. And so we'll be discussing its functions and how to operate it, as I've said earlier, and different types of fire extinguisher. What exactly is a fire extinguisher? This is just a protection device they use to extinguish or control small incipient fires. Like I've said earlier in previous series, I said fire extinguishers are used to just to control or to extinguish small incipient fires. Small fires. What exactly is an incipient fire? An incipient fire is fires that are at their initial or beginning stage, in which you can see the bottom of the fire. It is mostly the fire that started in your presence, or it just started and you got there. So you know that we have different stages of fire in respect to how the fire builds up, which is the incipient stage, the growth stage, the fully developed stage, and the decay stage. But what I want us to know with respect to fire extinguishers is that fire extinguishers are used to only control incipient stage fires, which means it at its beginning stage, you can see the base and then it's just developing. It is not for, kindly know that fire extinguisher is not for fully developed fire or fires that are already in the growth stage. And so we'll be discussing the anatomy of a fire extinguisher. Have you ever seen a fire extinguisher before? This is what we call a fire extinguisher, and it has different parts. And the first part is the discharge lever, which is the area where the discharge of the content of the extinguisher comes out from. We also have the discharge lock pin and seal. And most of the time you see something like an iron pin that is put at the tip of the fire extinguisher. That is the pin, and that's the locking pin. And then we have a seal. Most of the time you see this seal in different colors that is round around that area. So that is the discharge locking pin and seal. And also we have the discharge hose, which is this kind of hose. And we also have the discharge nozzle. Mind you, not all fire extinguishers have this nozzle, but most fire extinguishers which are CO2 has this kind of nozzle. But most fire extinguisher has a hole in a hose, and the nozzle is there for the CO2 fire extinguisher. And then we have the discharge orifice, and we also have a pressure gauge. A pressure gauge is also part of a fire extinguisher. But mind you, for CO2 fire extinguishers, we are still going to talk about, you don't have pressure gauge. But for all other fire extinguishers, especially the popular one, which is the powder type, they usually have the gauge, the pressure gauge. And what the pressure gauge does is just to notify us whether the pressure level is there or is still in intact or not. So whenever it is in normal part, the pressure gauge level, the pressure gauge will be on green. But as soon as if it is below or above, it means that something is very wrong with the fire extinguisher. So you just need to check. Probably you need to recharge or refill it, or the pressure has gone down. So that's just about that, for you to just know with respect to the pressure gauge. And so we also have the carrying handle. This is the, you can see the handle, so you can carry it with respect to when we carry, if it is with a locking pin and seal, it still stays there. But if it's not with the pin, you'll find out that if you carry it and squeeze it, it's going to discharge. But that's the carrying handle. And also we have the data plate. The data plate is used to just tell us the kind of fire extinguisher that is in there, the kind of fires that you can use the fire extinguisher for, and all the information in respect to the fire extinguisher is put on the data page. And lastly, we have the whole body of the fire extinguisher. So this is just a summary of the anatomy of a fire extinguisher that has all the different parts labeled. It's just for us to know, you know, in simple safety talk, we just teach us what you need to know. A lot of us have been with a fire extinguisher for a very long time. You don't even know what are the different parts. So these are the different parts. We have the discharge lever, we have the pin, we have the handles, we have the hose, the discharging hose, the discharging nozzle, the discharging orifice, and then always note that CO2 fire extinguisher does not have pressure gauge, but all of the fire extinguishers has a pressure gauge. And so quickly, let's move on to the functions of fire extinguisher. What are the main functions of fire extinguishers? Like I've said in the definition, fire extinguishers are used to control small incipient fire, a fire that is just developing. It is important for us to note that you have a fire extinguisher in your house and you see a house that has started burning for like 10 to 15 minutes, and because you have a fire extinguisher in your house, you quickly go dash into the house and pick the fire extinguisher because you want to go and fight. No, you don't use the fire extinguisher for a fully developed or growth, a fire that is in a growth stage. It is just for the small to incipient fire stage. And also the other most important thing that we need to know is that fire extinguishers is used to protect evacuation routes. What it means is that when you're stuck in a place where there is fire, a fire extinguisher is used to protect your route, so safety, to protect your route to going out if the fire is in your way. So it's used to control small incipient fires, and also used to protect your evacuation route so that you can move out to safety. The job of fighting the fire, if it is more than an incipient stage fire, is for the fire brigade department. And also the fire extinguisher type. So the fire extinguisher type, we have like 5 main types of fire extinguishers. The first one is the water. We have the powder, foam, carbon dioxide, white chemical. And you can identify these fire extinguishers with their colors, sometimes by, and most of the time by their names, colors, and sometimes their poses. Like I said earlier, the CO2 fire extinguisher usually has something like a horn at the base of the discharge nozzle, like the one we discussed earlier, the one we saw the anatomy. So that is a CO2 fire extinguisher type, which has a horn. The other types always have the straight hose, which just carries the hose without the discharging nozzle, without the horn on look type. And so the colors are, the CO2 has black, the water is red, the foam is cream in color, the dry powder is blue in color, while the wet chemical sometimes is yellowish in color, sometimes it tends towards cream, yellow, and all that. But it is important for us to know that every content of the fire extinguisher has the color on its label plate. So sometimes when it is the dry powder fire extinguisher, you see the display label as blue. So you will know that, okay, this is a dry chemical powder that is inside the extinguisher. And sometimes if you see it as black, you say no, that is CO2. So that is just the way to distinguish which or what type of fire extinguisher that you have or you want to buy or you see around you. And so quickly, let's move to the use of the right fire extinguisher. It is important for us to the fact that some agents that are constituent of these fire extinguishers are not meant for specific fires. We are still going to talk about that. And so some fire extinguishers may be ineffective to a type of fire, a particular type of fire, or sometimes when we use the wrong fire extinguisher on a type of fire, it aggravates the fire. Like we said the previous episode. If you've not watched our previous episode, kindly go to the previous episode and see what we talked about with respect to water, that not all fires can be quenched with water. So the same thing is with respect to all the different types of fire extinguishers. So it's just important for us to know the type of fire that we want to fight before we bring or we use a fire extinguisher on them. And most of the time in respect to the home, because of the way a home is and what are the things that are in the home, we recommend a type of fire extinguisher which we are still going to talk about later. And also in respect to also for some of us who are working in different organizations, you'll find out that in your organization there are different types of fire extinguishers in different places, because the type of fuel which we are going to talk about will determine the type of fire extinguisher that we are going to get to that area. So we'll still discuss about that later. And so only proceed if you know that you have the right type of fire extinguisher. And also we will talk about how to operate a fire extinguisher. What is the best way and the most generally acceptable way to operate a fire extinguisher is to use the P.A.S.S principle. What is P.A.S.S? P.A.S.S, which means pull the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, don't let it go, sweep from side to side. And so the P.A.S.S, what exactly is the P.A.S.S? Pulling the pin. Can we see here how this pin, like I said earlier, that we have a particular type of pin that is pulled on the at the base where the lever is. So you see the pin, so you pull the pin from the fire, from the lever, and but mind you, you have to break the seal or whatever it is, the seal that is there, break the tamper seal, and then you pull the pin, and then you aim low to the base of the fire. Can you see the drawing? Aim low to the fire, and then you just, the base of the fire is where you really want to concern. You know, I said earlier that fire extinguishers are only meant to fight small incipient fires. And so you aim the nozzle to the base of the fire, then you squeeze the lever, you squeeze the handle to release the extinguishing agent. And then the last thing is that you are now going to sweep from side to side with respect to different, you sweep the content from side to side to different parts of the base of the fire until the fire is out. So the major principle to fight the fire is pull the pin, which is the P, that will break the tampers, and after we have broken the tamper seal and all that, aim the nozzle and point it to the base of the fire, squeeze the handle to release the extinguishing agent, and sweep from side to side. P.A.S.S, P.A.S.S. This is a general, universal, international way of operating a fire extinguisher. P.A.S.S. Pull the pin, aim at the nozzle, aim the nozzle, aim low, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side. So in some school of thought, they will say activate and aim, but activating when you are using a DCP fire extinguisher, immediately you have squeezed it and the content is being released, you have also released the pressure. So you cannot activate with a DCP fire, a powder fire extinguisher. It is just important for us. So it's only a CO2 that you can use and pull it down. As soon as you have used a dry chemical powder, fire extinguisher, you have already released the content. Whether you use this on the very small fire or whether you just use it to check, you have already released content. So you just have to quickly go and refill it. So this is just the basic way of operating a fire extinguisher. And so the do's and don'ts of fire extinguisher, I've said some of them. It is not intended for use in an out of control fires, and so it is only for incipient fires. Please note that. And it's not intended for fires such as one that has reached the ceiling and then you just go there and then you want to, it's not for that. And do not use when your safety is endangered. You must make sure that your safety is not compromised, even when you're trying to use a fire extinguisher to fight a fire. That is why the most important thing a fire extinguisher is used for is to fight incipient fires, and also to pave way for you in case you are stuck in a place where there is fire and then your exit route is blocked with fire. So it is just important for us to know that your escape route must not be compromised, even when you are trying to fight a fire. And then the right fire extinguisher, it should be used for the right fire source. And so it is just important for us to know some of those things so that we can know how to use a fire extinguisher. So in conclusion, operating a fire extinguisher with the P.A.S.S acronym is very important for us to know. Pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side. And so with this, we end the series on fire extinguishers, what you need to know. And thank you for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and share to your friends. Can also smash the notification bell so that you can have notification of series whenever we post them. Thank you for your time, and I hope you've learned something. Kindly let's get to the comment section and comment. You can let's talk about it, and so that we can get our feedbacks. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye for now.